Alright, welcome back. This is Chapter 11, Weld Station Setup. I'm going to start with a Miller. We'll probably do a Miller, we'll do a Lincoln over there. I want to go through setting everything up, matching your drive rolls, your wire diameter, your contact tips, and stuff like that. I'm going to start on this Miller. Basically, your on-off switch is going to be down here. We'll take a little bit, we'll boot up. We'll go through the buttons on here, what they all mean. We'll probably set it up for short arc or spray, one of the two. First thing you want to do, let's get our right process. Hit this little blue button. It's gone. We're going to be doing MIG today. When we get to here, we're going to do pulse. We can switch that over to pulse. If you're doing it in aluminum or stainless. Today we're going to set it up for probably spray and short arc. So just a regular MIG process. As you scroll down, right now we're going to be using old 35 wire diameter steel. If you have to change it, just take this dial, switch it back and forth, whatever it may be. So, this here's your timers. This adjusts your run-in speed. That's basically the speed of your wire when you first hit the trigger. That's not too critical for these welding processes, but when you get into aluminum, you may want to decrease or increase your run-in speed. We're running old 35 wire. This is basically set up for a short arc process. As you can tell, our bolts and our wire feed speed's very low. From Chapter 10, I went through the different variations of spray and short arc. So if we want to change that into a spray mode, we'll probably crank that up to like 26. This probably around 600. Like I said, it can vary. Anywhere from 450 up probably about 750. If you're going to start out in spray, probably start out somewhere in here and go from there. Now that we basically got our weld station kind of set up, the next thing you want to do, let's go in here and check out what we got to do. Here's my wire, down and here's my drive roll system. If you're going to change the wire out, first thing I normally do is cut the end of this wire, and then I loosen the drive rolls here, and I feed that wire back through. That way you save about 15 to 18 feet of wire. Alright, next, determines what type of wire. If you're going to be running old 35 or old 45, does not matter, you can do that in spray or short arc. This is old 35 wire. So what we normally do, if we do have to change it, just hit these two buttons, slide it out, slide it back in, put it on here. Next thing, we got to check our drive rolls. Our drive rolls actually have a diameter written on it. See, that one says 035, other side says 045. So the diameter of your wire is going to tell you what type of drive roll you're going to be using. For Miller, like I said, they have 035, 045. The one that you actually see is the one that it's going to be. So this is 035 wire. I can see the 035. Slide it back on. Just give it a little twist. So whatever wire diameter I am using, my drive rolls have to match, and also my contact tip, and I'll show you that. As I flip the tensioner up, you can increase or decrease the tension on your drive rolls. What that does is either squashes them together or separates them apart. A lot of times when you're having feeding issues, people will get in here and crank it down. Be careful not to crank them down too far, because what you actually do is you actually squash that wire. That's not good, because it's your contact tip is round. When you actually elongate that wire and squash it down, it doesn't want to feed in here as well. Typically we run it anywhere between 2 and 3 for your tension. Once in a while we crank it up a little bit more, like I said, for having feeding issues. So basically your wire diameter is going to determine what size of drive roll and contact tip, and we'll get into that here shortly. One common error too, like Miller's here, to change that drive roll, we have to loosen that. Slide that whip out a little bit, change that drive roll on the bottom. The main thing is when you go to put that whip back in, it's all the way in. That is where our gas is being supplied to our whip. Make sure that's tight. Tighten your whip back down. And go from there. So, once we have all of this established, typically what you want to do is take your whip, put it out nice and straight, feed your wire through. This here's my nozzle. That helps with my shielding gas. It helps protect the contact tip. This here's my contact tip. We have old 35 wire in here, so I should have an old 35 contact tip. These are Velocity Spraymaster whips. As you can tell, there's no gas diffuser on there. The gas diffuser is actually in the contact tip itself. Slide that over the top. Once your wire is fed, then your nozzle actually holds that down. So now we actually have our wire all set up. Make sure that's fairly snug. As you can tell, my contact tip is not moving. If that is loose, my contact tip will actually move in there. Now remember, your contact tip is what energizes your wire, so it has to be tight. Now a lot of students too, they don't change their contact tips from old 45 to old 35. Well, if you use an old 35 wire, if you have an old 45 diameter hole, that wire actually flops around in that hole and you don't have good contact. So make sure you have the right size contact tip to match your wire. So now we have our wire in. The wire feed speed stuff is adjusted. I'm going to turn my gas on. This is actually a bottle system. We're going to be using a regulator. The regulator, the dial on the right, is telling me how much I have left in the tank. The dial on the left, that's how I'm going to adjust my flow rate. For spray, we're looking at probably anywhere from 35 to 50 for your flow rate. Keep in mind that's a volume, it's not a pressure, and it's measured in cubic feet per hour. So when I hit my trigger, you can see this dial start to move. I hit the trigger, and then I adjust my flow rate accordingly. A lot of them have a ball system too, so when I hit that trigger, that ball will come up, turn that dial to whatever you want to run. Make sure your regulator matches your gas. This is an argon mix regulator. Some of them are for straight CO2, some are for oxygen, acetylene, whatever it may be. So now that we have this adjusted, we're almost ready to weld. Another thing, make sure you check what is on the bottle. This here is a 75-25, so this machine is designed to short our process. If we were going to be spray welding, it would be a 90-10 mixture. And that's right on the bottle itself. So this is a Miller in a nutshell for a setup. Usually half of the problem that students have is they don't have it all set up right. 75-25 gas, adjust your flow rate. I'm going to turn that back down to probably 25 to 30 for short arc. And probably this down to like 18 and a half, somewhere in there, probably 230, 220 for short arc. Keep in mind that old 35, you can run short arc air spray with it. Typically, if you're going to be doing a lot of spray, we'll bump you up to an old 45 diameter and adjust your settings from there. For old 45 running spray, you're probably looking at probably 26 for your volts, probably 360 to 400 inches per minute for your wire feed. If you have any issues with these, number one, contact your instructor. We'll walk you through. We'll walk over here, and I'll show you the difference between a Miller and a Lincoln. A lot of the things are the same. Your drive roll system's a little different. Here's your tensioner button right here to adjust your drive rolls up and down for your tension on your wire. Loosen that up, flip it down. Same thing. We have drive rolls just like we do in the Miller. They're a little bit different style. We have a ton of them over there. Main thing is, if you're using old 35 wire, make sure your drive roll is old 35. This actually has a wire guide on it. Just take that plate off, your wire through, so on. So that's probably one of the main differences between a Miller and a Lincoln. Everything else still applies. I'm running all 35 wire, all 35 drive rolls, all 35 contact. Flops up, and that's how I adjust my tension on my wire. Like I said, don't get too carried away with your tension on your wire. Like I said, you'll end up squashing that wire. When we turn the Lincoln on, it's actually got preset programs. This one here's program 11, and it tells you you're running old 35 wire with an argon mix. So this station right now is set up for short arc process. If I wanted to switch it over to pulse, and now I have old 35 pulse. So typically you're going to be running program 11, 12, program 21 if I have old 45 wire. This would probably be a spray setup. I adjust my wire feed speed and my bolts. Here's a pulse mode for old 45 wire. So basically these are almost the same. The programming's a little different, but in all reality your drive roll system, your whip, the nozzles and contact tips are identical to the Miller, and you go from there. Make sure you got it all set up. Like I said, if you have old 45 drive rolls in here and you're trying to run old 35 wire, it's not going to push that wire through. We talked about push-pull systems. This is a push system, so right here, that wire is being pushed throughout the lead. If there was a pull system, you would actually have drive rolls right up here in your whip, and I'll show you one of them here shortly. This here's a little bit different. We're not using bottles. We're using a bulk system, and we're using a mixing chamber. We have argon and CO2 being pumped into this mixing chamber. When I open this door, I can actually adjust it to whatever I want. So for example, right now I'm at 75% argon. That means I have 25% CO2. If I turn that to 90% argon, that means I have 90% argon, 10% CO2. This allows us to do any kind of argon CO2 mix. Flow rate knobs on the top, you just adjust it to wherever you're welding, 25, 30, whatever it may be. So they're pretty much the same. The only thing is, this has already pre-programs in it. Adjust it to probably number 11 for old 35 and number 21 for old 45 wire. Make sure you go through each system before you actually start welding. Make sure you know what process you're doing. Match your wire to whatever process. So this is carbon steel. If we're going to do aluminum, we probably have like ER 40, 43 on here. We'd find your aluminum setting here on our program. Next, I wanted to show you that push-pull system. This is a Miller push-pull system here. Still has drive rolls just like we went through in the Miller. The only difference is we have a set of drive rolls up here in our whip. So this is a push-pull system. And you'd go through and adjust